piled right on top of each other.
That's insane.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. It's gonna take him forever to clean that up. He says there's hazmat stuff. I'm getting video. Oh my gosh.
You do?
Damn, we're gonna get in trouble for this.
This is not a coincidence. Why are there train wrecks suddenly happening all over the place? This is the first big one that everybody heard about, the February 3rd Ohio train derailment, toxic spill of vinyl chloride, right? And then March 4th, today, in the same state, it happens again. 2 train wrecks in the same state. Now, Springfield, Ohio, so a different part of Ohio. What in the world? Okay, and now a train wreck in Utah. This happens now. Ogden, Utah, train derailment, toxic spill of magnesium chloride. So vinyl chloride, magnesium chloride, or whatever. Who's knocking these trains over? Defending Utah predicted this 2 weeks ago. Okay, the Utah legislature just passed a bill talking about train wrecks and emergency response as if they were planning on this happening in Utah. So 3 train wrecks in a short time span. 1, 2, 3. Is this just a coincidence? Further online research actually shows derailments are suddenly happening all around the country. So the Independent reviewed train accident stories on Newsweek. This is what they found right here. They found there was actually another one in Ohio. So in addition to the ones we've already talked about, January 19th, 3 in South Carolina, January 9th, 21st, and 12th, right? As well as 2 in rural California, and then more in all these other places: Detroit, Philadelphia, Alabama, Alaska, Louisiana, and Texas. Author Ian Fleming, who worked for the British Naval Intelligence Division during World War II, is famous for his statement where he said, "Once is happenstance, twice is a coincidence, 3 times it's enemy action." This is a natural law. Once something keeps happening enough times, you could stop wondering if it's a coincidence, and instead you could start looking for the reason that the pattern is happening. Okay, this is not a coincidence. So here, just a couple weeks ago, our writers at Defending Utah, we reported on SB 20 in the, that's Senate Bill 20 in the Utah legislature. And we asked this question: can Utah end up like Ohio? And why would we ask that question? Okay, because this is what they were passing the bill about. Could Utah end up like Ohio? Utah literally planned for future train disasters, signed into law on February 16th by the governor. So let's just look that up here. Train, and it was actually so they're talking about trains all throughout this write-up. So please go to our website and check out this article if you want to kind of read the details. Okay, strange coincidental mentioning of trains in relation to contaminated land. In addition to that, they also strange coincidental mentioning of contaminated lands in and then in addition to that, they exempted themselves from disaster emergency. So if the government creates a disaster on purpose, they're exempt or something like that. I don't know. However they're going to use that, they've got this exemption in there. So Utah literally planned for future train disasters. Okay, signed into law February 16th by the governor, and then 2 weeks later, the train disaster happens in Ogden just yesterday. In Ogden. And so this article, we go through and provide sources. We kind of link the bill that they're talking about with this historical area in Ogden by, up north and Hill Air Force Base and those sorts of things. So So this train wreck happening in Ogden, it's exactly where we predicted this legislation was linked to. This is not a coincidence. So what's going on here exactly? Right, in 2019, a whole team of Defending Utah journalists, we went to the United Nations conference in Salt Lake City. This was the United Nations Civil Society Conference, and you can check out this website, unitednationsutah.com. We have conference updates, and we did a bunch of reports on what's going on here and how, you know, they're targeting the youth and doing different things. But also, it was a whole conference where they had all kinds of meetings and breakout sessions, and you could attend just like any conference, any professional conference. You could attend different speakers. Okay, and so one of those speakers, out of the many things that happened there at this conference, one of them was when Envision Utah, they spoke. And Envision Utah is the local corporation that they are in charge of implementing the UN's plan in the state of Utah. They implement sustainable development initiatives, and they gave a presentation where they discussed disaster recovery. So here they sent out their own email blast, and they discussed what they were doing. And they said down here, we're gearing up for a disaster resiliency project in 2020, right? And so 2019 is when they were at the UN conference. And so disaster resiliency, this is an important thing to understand in relation to the Sustainable Development Initiatives. Okay, it is important to note that the global changes that the United Nations and the World Economic Forum want to make absolutely depend on lots of disasters happening, because emergency situations are agents of rapid social change in society. The World Economic Forum's vision for 15-minute cities of the future requires people to move into their prison-like cities that they're building. Okay, the 15-minute strategy, it is literally the other side of the coin of what's called the Wildlands project. So in my presentation on regionalism and high-density housing that I gave back in December that you can find online, I explained the Wildlands project in relation to high-density housing. So wildlands are areas of the country where only wild things are envisioned to live. Only wild things. That means no people. When you create more wildlands, you have to move people off that land and put them somewhere else, because no people there. It's only for wildlife. So the Wildlands project is moving people away from something, while the high-density 15-minute cities is building places to put those people when they're forced to move. So an emergency situation that supposedly makes land unlivable is exactly the kind of excuse needed to move people the way they want. Again, natural disasters and accidents are social change agents to move people that otherwise would have no motivation to move. These new 15-minute cities will be ready and waiting for new residents.
The EPA may place a windfall lien on the BFPP's property. The windfall lien equals the lesser of 1, the amount of the unrecovered cleanup costs incurred by the EPA, or 2, the increase in fair market value of the property attributable to the Superfund cleanup. Wow, look at this example they give. EPA spends $3 million on a property, increasing its value from $1 million to $2 million. I think I see where this is going, folks. And then it goes on, a bona fide prospective purchaser then purchases the $2 million property for $500,000. After the bona fide prospective purchaser assumes ownership, the EPA spends an additional $1 million cleaning up the site. And then it says their additional $1 million cleaning up results in an additional $500,000 increase to the fair market value of the property, bringing its value up to $2.5 million. EPA may seek a $1.5 million increase in property value. Wow. What the hell? What the hell, folks? The EPA would charge somebody $1.5 million in a windfall lien? This is horrifying. This is all planned, folks. This is years in the making.